Hi, I'm Andrea. Thank you so much for joining me for this 30-minute yoga practice. I've got a yoga mat. If you are without one, find an area in your house that's got some carpeting. Maybe you've got a sturdy rug that can act as your yoga mat for today. I just don't want you to be on a rug that's going to slip out from underneath you or something that's too slick or hard like a hardwood floor. I have a folded blanket. You could use a bath towel, a beach towel, the throw blanket from your couch, 2 yoga blocks. A great substitute for those would be 2 thick books. And I have a sleeping dog. If you've got one of those, it might be the best prop of all. We'll start standing with our feet hip distance and parallel in a very fundamental posture and really the one that we do the most. It's called mountain pose. But it really just means standing with our feet parallel and hip distance with the best posture we can muster. Let's swoop our arms in front of us, make a half circle or a circle away from each other. Let this happen at your shoulder joints. We don't just talk about it. You can feel that your arms are circling from their ball and socket joints called your shoulder joints. Now, float your arms alongside your body, palms facing out, but we continue to feel the experience of that happening at our shoulder joint. We're not hunched and flipping our wrists and convincing ourselves of anything. Put a little bend in your knees. Let your chin be parallel to the ground. Can you imagine a string in the crown of your head growing you tall so that you've rooted into your feet with a soft bend in your knees and this beautiful expression at your shoulder joint, and you are lifting up away from the ground, not crumbling towards it. In this nice tall stance, invite your breath. You've been breathing all the time. Let's, like we just did with our posture, really become aware of our breathing, not take it for granted. Every inhale and every exhale. If you're able to create inhale and exhale through your nose, go for that. If that's not happening, it's fine. Just stay with the awareness. We want to meet ourselves where we are at every turn. Adding some movement inspired by our awareness of breath. Inhale, arms out and up, thumbs to the sky, V, and then just exhale, float your arms along your sides, palms facing out. Again, inhale, arms out and up, thumbs to the sky, V. Exhale, float your arms along your sides. Adding more. Inhale, arms out and up, thumbs to the sky, V. Exhale, hinge at your hips. Place your hands on your thighs with your knees bent for this first one. And use your hands tractioning against your legs as we inhale to grow your spine long from your tailbone out the crown of your head. Remember that string in the crown of your head? Then we will exhale and hinge, but I want you to try to keep your spine long. You might venture your hands down towards your shins, even towards your ankles, but the goal is not to try to get your hands low, it's to hinge at your hips and keep your spine long. Now we'll slide our hands up and inhale, and then keep a bend in our knees, arms wide out to the side, thumbs to the sky, V shape overhead. We stand with our palms facing out, and we'll inhale, V shape. Exhale, hinge, hands to your thighs, or possibly shins or ankles, but long spine. Slide your hands up, inhale, grow longer. Exhale, keep that length, fold back in. And then we inhale, rise, reach, thumbs to the sky. We pause with our palms facing out. We'll keep growing our sun salutation, A. Inhale, B. Exhale, hinge. Hands to your thighs or shins or ankles. Glide your hands up, inhale, bend your knees deeper. Get your palms situated flat on your mat first. Push the ground away as you wander your feet back. Imagine a hook in your tailbone. Walk your feet as wide as your mat. Bend your knees, lift your hips, push through your arms until you feel yourself grow tall through your spine, through your side body, and through your front body. And then walk your feet forward, hip distance and parallel to the front edge of your mat, and glide your hands up your shins, maybe up to your thighs. Inhale. Exhale, hinge, fold back in. Then we inhale, rise, reach, thumbs to the sky, a V, and we pause with our palms facing out. We'll keep adding. Inhale, V. Exhale, hands to shins or thighs or shins or ankles, pardon me. Inhale, glide your hands up, lift your heart. Bend your knees, palms flat. Walk back to down dog, inverted V. Our knees are bent. You might be hip distance or keep your feet as wide as your mat. Now shift forward, aim your shoulders over your wrists. Be sure to push the ground away so you're not collapsed in your shoulders. Let the hook in your tailbone bring you back to down dog. We'll do that again. So shift it to plank, shoulders over wrists, and then the hook in your tailbone takes you back to down dog. One more time, we shift it, shoulders over wrists. Bring your knees to your mat and pause. So when our knees are on our mat for our purposes right now, it's not as close as hands and knees. Wander them back so it's a kickstand for a plank. And let's double check that we haven't collapsed into our shoulders. So really active. You can even feel your side waist muscles invited to this little push-up party. Now, shift a bit forward, keep pushing the ground away, elbows brush against your ribs. In one piece, we come to our belly. And then once we're there, uncurl your toes and bring your forearms parallel to the long edges of your mat. Traction your elbows towards you. Press into the tops of your feet till your kneecaps lift. So every bit of us is involved in this now back bend party of sorts. It's a back bend that is long and strong. And instead of throwing our chin into it, let's keep our chin parallel to the ground and feel this to be happening in the shoulder blade area of our spine. Lower down, place your hands next to your ribs. Elbows are not winging out to the side, they're still close to our body, and then we'll traction into a back bend like this. Remember, activating our legs. If this doesn't really quite hit the spot for you, you can always go back to the Sphinx pose that we did. Lower down, place your hands, if they're not there already, next to your ribs. Curl your toes under in one piece. We come to all fours, and then the hook in our tailbone with our hands pushing into our mat take us to down dog. Bend your knees, walk your feet forward so that we're at the front edge of our mat, hip distance parallel. Slide your hands up, inhale, glide your hands down, exhale. Inhale, rise, reach, thumbs to the sky, V. Then we stand in our mountain with our palms facing out. Let's flow that. Inhale, V shape. Exhale, hands to thighs, shins or ankles. Glide your hands up, inhale, bend your knees, palms go flat, step to down dog. So our hips are hoisted high. Come to plank, shoulders over wrists. Bring your knees down. In one piece, we lower to our bellies, and once we're there, uncurl your toes. Either cobra pose with your hands where they are now, or sphinx pose with your forearms down. Lower down, hands next to your ribs, curl your toes under. In one piece, we come to all fours, and then our hips lift us up and back, and we make our way into downward facing dog. Walk your feet forward to your hands. We're hip distance and parallel. Glide your hands up, inhale. Slide your hands down, exhale. And then inhale, rise, reach, thumbs to the sky, a V, and we pause with our palms facing out. We'll flow sun salutation A. That's what we just did. One more time. Inhale, V. Exhale, hands to thighs or shins or ankles. Glide your hands up, inhale, and bend your knees deeply enough to get your palms solid and flat. Walk back to your inverted V, your down dog. Shift shoulders over wrists and bring your knees to your mat. We come all the way down onto our belly, and then uncurl your toes for cobra pose or sphinx. Lower back down, curl your toes under. We come through all fours, and then the hook in our tailbone takes us to downward facing dog. Walk your feet forward to your hands, hip distance and parallel. Glide your hands up, inhale. Slide your hands down, exhale. We rise and reach, inhale, thumbs to the sky, V shape, then we stand. into our mountain. We'll make it a chair pose. Chair pose, we're not going to let our hips slump forward, nor are we going to go crazy into a back bend. Think natural curves of our spine, and that there's an actual chair back there that we're trying to sit into. So widen your arms to a V shape, shift your weight back into your heels, and then sit into a chair pose. From chair pose, bring your hands to your thighs, shins, or ankles and fold. Glide your hands up, inhale, palms go flat, and we step ourselves into downward facing dog. This time in down dog, lift your right leg back behind you and swoop it forward. Most of us are probably going to need to take a hold of the back of our right hamstring and help that right foot forward. While we're down here, grab your 2 books or blocks, turn them tall, and let them frame you on either side, either long edge of your mat here. Heel toe that right foot to the right, so it's less like you're going to swing your hip out to the side and feel like you're on a tightrope, and more like you can imagine a plumb line, swinging your right hip towards the left a little bit, to a place where things feel a little more solid. Bend your left knee, your back knee a bit. Bring yourself upright, maybe you do that by way of your right thigh. V-shape your arms, here we are, in a crescent lunge. 3 moments. You might take on the project of straightening your back leg a little bit or quite a bit, but we don't want that to jet us forward or dump us into our low back. So find a place where there is what's called effortless effort. Bring your hands to your blocks, ultimately to your mat. Step back to down dog. Now you can stay in down dog or even bring your knees down for a little bit of a rest if you would like. Maybe you join me and we come to a plank position from where we are. Bring your knees down, lower slowly to your belly. Uncurl your toes, come into cobra pose or sphinx is great. Lower back down, curl your toes under, we come through all 4s. And then we make our way back to our inverted V, our down dog. In down dog, lift your left leg back behind you. Step that left foot forward, help it along. Bring your blocks into the mix. Heel toe that left foot to the left. Make sure that there is plenty of space side to side, and we try not to swing that left hip out to the left. Imagine that it's hugging to the right. Bend your right knee, your back knee, make yourself upright, and then a V shape overhead. If you want to, you can start to think about straightening that back leg. I wouldn't be in a rush to do that. And then let's give ourselves a moment to enjoy crescent pose, side 2. Bring your hands to your blocks and then ultimately to your mat. Step back to down dog, our inverted V, both palms are flat. Walk your feet forward to your hands where hip distance and parallel. Glide your hands up, inhale. Slide your hands down, exhale. Chair pose, remember it? Sit back and down and into your heels, and we V-shape with our thumbs to the sky, and then we'll stand it up. Arms along our sides. Take a moment to notice how you feel so far. Chair pose. Hands to your thighs, shins or ankles. Glide your hands up, inhale. Palms go flat, so bend your knees as deeply as that takes. Push the ground away. Once we're in down dog, right leg lifts. Again, we'll step it forward. You can help it along, and we'll trot our 2 blocks into the mix. Bit different this time, pyramid pose. While our knee is bent, heel toe your right foot to the right. Give yourself some space. Turn your left foot, your back foot, flat on its side. We'll slowly straighten our right leg. It doesn't have to straighten entirely, and a couple of things to look out for. We're not letting it swing out to the right if we can help it. And we're not in a race to try to get our legs straight. We'd like to find a hinge at our hip and an elongation of our spine. So what we're not looking for is a crumble to try to get our face close to our leg. What we are looking for is a recipe to design spaciousness in your right hamstring, in your spine. Can you bring that to your inhales and exhales? Can you imagine creating space in between the thoughts in your head? That would be the ultimate goal. I'll be silent for 30 seconds together. Now, we'll bend our right knee and spin on our left toes and make our way into down dog. So palms flat, hips lift up. You can stay in down dog. You can bring your knees down for a rest or come with me to plank. Bring your knees to your mat and lower slowly to your belly. Uncurl your toes for cobra pose or sphinx if you prefer it. Lower down, curl your toes under through all fours. And then our hips lift us to down dog. We lift our left leg behind us and we step it forward into pyramid pose. But we start with our lunge. We'll heel toe that left foot to the left. Back foot flat. Blocks are really helpful to keep the length in our spine as we slowly find a straighter or maybe somewhat straight left leg. Remember that the objective is not to crumble your face close to that left leg. And it's also interesting because one side of your body might be really different from the other. Let's create space in that left hamstring, in our spine, in our breath, maybe between the thoughts in our head. 30 seconds of silence together. Bend our left knee and spin on our back toes. Make your way to down dog, so blocks out of the way, palms flat, inverted V, probably bend to our knees and high on our toes, and then walk forward. Feet hip distance and parallel once more. Glide your hands up, inhale, slide your hands down, exhale. We rise, reach into a chair pose if you don't mind. Sit back and down and V shape, and then we stand and float our arms along our sides. Inhale, V. Exhale, hinge, hands to thighs or shins or ankles. Inhale, glide your hands up. Palms go flat. We step back to our down dog. This time in down dog, lift your right leg behind you. Step that right foot forward. Lower your left knee. We're building a single pigeon, and I've got tools that might be really important as we build. This right foot is going to step over towards the left side of our mat a little bit, and I'm bringing a block into the mix to sit my right sit bone on. So this might be the way that you construct it is you bend, you can curl your left toes, back toes under, and walk that back foot. So it's a little bit like the lunge feeling, except you've got this front leg doing something different. Obviously, you're sitting down. You can bring your right heel close to you if you want to. You're thinking about left hip forward, right hip back, but I want you to proceed with caution. Make sure this right knee is happy. Sitting on your block or on your folded blanket can make that be the case. And then I often back myself up into it. So walking those left toes back a little bit, and finding a place that feels comfortable enough. You can rest your forearms on a block in front of you, This is the self-care portion. Actually, the whole practice is self-care in one form or another, but this is the softer side of self-care. We'll be in this posture for 30 more seconds, and I'm going to be quiet. Let you soak. We will sit onto our right hip. So that means you're going to kind of like fall on over to the right a little bit. That's fine. You might still be seated on your block. That's also fine. Take your left leg, swing it around. You can help it along. And then imagine that you're doing a tree pose with your right knee bent and your left leg straight. You could use your block that was underneath your right sit bone and place it underneath this right thigh. For a lot of us, that's going to be helpful. And then take your arms V-shape out to the side. Right ribs are turning towards our front left or our straight left leg. Sometimes blocks or just fingertips out in front of you can prop you up a little bit taller. You're still thinking right ribs towards left leg, and we fold over our straight leg. Curl those left toes back. Let's get quiet in this new shape. We'll bring ourselves upright. This left leg now bends. Here's a couple of things. You may want to straighten your right leg out in front of you. We step our left leg over our right leg. Remember, this can be straight. For a twist, that will be a twist to our left, maybe right elbow outside that left thigh, or you're hugging that knee towards you. Give yourself what you need. You can sit on something, you can straighten that right leg. Couple of moments just like this. Now we'll unwind and make it a cross-legged position. So if you had a straight right leg, you'll want to bend that. We've got our left shin in front of our right shin, and perhaps your blocks are still there from our seated tree pose for you to wander forward or just sit upright. Both are great. We'll come up and turn this into side two of our single pigeons. So that just means swing your right leg back. And remember, we sat down on a block, or I did anyway. You can sit that underneath your left hip if that's helpful, or your folded blanket. Perhaps one of your blocks out in front of you eventually for your forearms to rest upon, but make your way into something that feels manageable, and let's get quiet together here. will sit onto our left hip. So maybe you're seated on your block, but your right leg swoops around. This is where we create what looks like a tree pose, and you could use your block underneath your left thigh or trot your 2 blocks on either side of that straight right leg. V shape, left ribs turn towards our straight right leg, and we fold out here. Bring yourself upright. Remember the option to straighten this right leg. Step this left leg and step your right leg over that left leg. We twist with possibly left elbow outside of right thigh, or just give that a hug. And then we'll unwind and cross right shin in front of left shin. We will be sitting in this position to end our practice unless you really want to lie down on your back. You can fold forward for a moment, then I'll give you the option to just sit in meditation. If you want to stay with the fold, it's okay. You could be seated on a folded blanket to make it more comfortable for our finish. Take your fold if you'd like to. And then stay with that fold, or come to a seated meditation with your palms up or down on your thighs. You can close your eyes or just soften your gaze. Do happen to be lying on your back, take your time rolling to one side, helping with your hands to come up to a comfortable way to sit. We'll pause and place our hands on our heart. Grateful for this moment that we can share self-care. I'm Andrea. Thank you so much for practicing with me. I look forward to us doing this again together soon.